Here for the Ways and Means Committee. If everyone can take your place, and we'll certainly get started. Good to see everybody. Hey, there you are. Hey. Okay. First thing we would like to do. I didn't call to order. I need the approval of the minutes for the month of April 24th, 2023. I need a first and a second. Terry and Daniel, did you have your finger up? Okay, thank you. I'll say Terry and Daniel. Okay, thank you. Are there any corrections, changes, any additions? Okay. Okay, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed? There are none. It is unanimous. Okay, and then moving on to our informational items, reports, and other minutes and updates. And we'll start with Miss Rachel Parker for our county clerk.
Good afternoon.
Good
think it's on.
afternoon. Bring it a little closer. I said I was pulling the mic a little closer. I have a tendency to talk softer.
Okay, I think it's on,
Yes.
and I talk
Okay, can
loud
hear you.
anyway. Get my old cheerleader voice on. Okay, well, everyone has the report that was sent out to them, and there's no additions to that report, but if you have any questions, I will try to answer them.
There are none. You have something additional you would like to report to us?
I do, just wanting to update all of you that House Bill 3036 was signed into law, which changes the rental housing support program fee. And what that is our standard documents for recording right now are $67, but they're going to go up to $76 come July 1st due to this increase in the fee. That fee increase was mandated, so it wasn't anything that we did on our own, and it's also something that you all couldn't have controlled because it was passed in Springfield. So it's kind of spread out over the whole state, whether we like it or not. A lot of the clerks did come together because they weren't happy about that, but it didn't matter, I hate to say. But they are doing some additional things with the bill passing. They're creating a task force so that they will be able to track those dollars better. Because back in January, Peoria County hosted a meeting where we had a number of clerks from different communities come, or different counties come. Altogether, we had some state representatives, we had some state senators here, and they heard from the Housing Authority was also here from those same counties, which were, let me see, it was Tazewell, my glasses on. We had Tazewell, McLean, Knox, and LaSalle counties here back in January, and housing authorities from those groups as well. And those groups basically told the senators and the state reps about this fee, you know, they're not happy about this fee going up. And what does that mean? Because we were backtracking to see where the money went, and we couldn't see where all those dollars were being dispersed equally among, or not even equally, but based on population, where we're getting the money back that we're putting into it. So they are doing some more research on that to see how they're going to track those dollars to make sure that it's being fairly dispersed, because we felt that it was not. And they appreciated us bringing that to their attention, because there's, you know, millions of bills out there that they pass, and they don't know all the gritty details on everything. But they were really pleased that we brought awareness to that so that they can follow the money trail, because we are concerned about that. Most of that $9 that increase will stay in the Cook County. It won't really be dispersed to the other counties, and so that was a concern as well. You may also get some calls when you see that certain counties are raising theirs $10 instead of $9. We went with the standard $9 fee because that's what was mandated on us. Some counties have raised it to 10 where they're keeping that dollar, but you have to have a fee study in order for us to change any of our basic fees, and we have not had that study. So just in case, if you hear that Tazewell, somebody says, well, Tazewell's went up 10, why is yours 9? You'll know that they're keeping that extra dollar.
Okay. And does that also mean for Cook County, once we finish the studies, that they'll have to be held accountable for where that money goes as well?
The whole intent is for them to be more transparent of where all of those dollars go, because there was question, even the state senators and the reps that were here didn't know exactly where all the dollars went. So it's just to bring more awareness to make sure that they can follow that money trail,
Great,
basically.
great.
So I made a copy if you want to take one of just what the posting was that we put up, because we were required to show that the change is going to happen. If you want to just have it with you in case one of your constituents should happen to call, at least you won't be blindsided by it, and you'll have the basic information. But I made a copy that I'll give to each one of you before you leave if you want.
And that goes into effect July 1st, as
July
I can see here,
1st.
of this year.
So
Okay.
again, our $60 standard document fee to record a mortgage will then, be increased to the $76.
Okay. Any other comments or additions to what Ms. Rachel was speaking of? Okay. And if you have any further questions or comments, reach out to her or myself, and we'll try and get you an answer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, do we have a representative from the Election Commission? Yeah. Hey, Nancy is here, and just to let you know, Jesse did a great job in representing you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hello, everyone.
Yay.
It didn't make it into the packet, but I do have a graph here that I can pass out if you'd like. I presented this to the Election Commission Board at our monthly meeting. Yeah, that would be great. Thank you. There's 5 copies, so just. It shows voter turnout by method in the 2019 election compared to the 2023 election. And those elections are the same type of elections. The same people were up. So it's a good comparison looking at voting methods. And I wanted to run this because I was curious and hopeful that permanent vote by mail would increase voter turnout in consolidated odd-year elections. So I was hopeful that they would already be getting a ballot and they would, vote it and mail it in. So looking at the data, that is not the case. We had roughly the same percentage of voter turnout in both elections. You can just see that the number of people that are voting by mail drastically increased and the number of people voting on election day decreased. I thought it was very interesting that those voters that like to vote early continued voting early. So they like that process. But this will be something that we will continue to watch as we move into more consolidated elections. But I was really hoping that would increase turnout, and unfortunately it didn't.
Yeah.
So, a few other things that I have. We are currently working with the GIS department to update the new city council district boundaries within our voter registration system. So we need to move those district lines and then update those voters accordingly. And so everybody in the county of Peoria will be receiving a new voter registration card later in the year. Late summer, early fall is when we're hoping to do that.
Have it complete.
So-
And that'll be roughly completed during that time.
Yes, we
the
hope
GIS.
to have be done within the next 2 months,
Yeah.
working with GIS to implement those line boundary changes.
And that'll be available on your website
It
as
will
well.
be available on the GIS website.
On the
They have
GIS?
all of the boundaries up on their site.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's exciting. Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah, but that's really all that I have. We're taking a breath from our 3, it seemed like back-to-back elections with moving that June primary last year. So.
Yeah, great. Will this be available after your election periods from now on, or what? It's good. The visuals are always good.
Oh, I'm more than happy to create any
Okay.
graphs and things that you'd like,
Yeah.
but that will be attached to our minutes from the May meeting. So it
Great.
will be,
Appreciate that.
yeah, of course.
Any other questions, comments? Anybody? Okay, well, thank you, Nancy. Appreciate your coming.
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth. Oh,
All right.
sorry about that. I don't know where I got Nancy at. Okay, thank you. And Supervisor of Assessments, Dave, he's taking his place. Are you going to sit there and make your presentation?
Yeah, because I think the
Okay.
microphone's here, so I'll do that. I think this should be able to click through. Maybe.
Oh, thank you.
Oh,
Over
yeah.
there. Oh, there you
Okay. I think that hopefully that is it. But I will just start, I think. Must be clicking the wrong way. Doesn't seem to be. That would be why.
go. Where is he going?
Oh, did I give you the wrong file?
Yeah.
My bad. That's on me.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. It is my turn to do the tax cycle and give it a little bit of an idea of what our office does as part of the tax cycle. So I will go through this. Typically, I do something somewhat similar. I do this at ICC, but I usually do this on how to file a complaint, etc. I will make this much quicker because that usually takes about an hour and a half. But we have a ton of questions usually in that. So I'll try to make this quick. Typically, there are 6 steps to the tax cycle. Assessment, review of assessments, state equalization. You could also call it local equalization because we do that at the local level, so they don't have to do it at the state level. Levy, extension, and collection and distribution. Obviously, there's a lot that goes into this, but that is the main functions of the tax cycle, and that is done each year. So that's why it's similar, called the cycle, is because we do the same thing each year, but there's a lot of things that are different as part of that. So Supervisor of Assessments Office, our office is mainly responsible for those first 3, which is the assessments, review of the assessments, and equalization. The key is how we get to each one of these. So our office is responsible for each one of these, and there's different ways we get to that. There's basically the 4 biggest functions of the assessment part of it is to discover, list, value, and assess. To discover something, that is what our office does, is we basically find and inventory all property in Peoria County. So you'll notice everything has a parcel number. When Nicole sends the tax bills, everything has a mailing address. So we maintain all of the mailing addresses. We maintain those parcel numbers, and we typically do that through a GIS system. We have one mapper in our office that actually helps maintain all of that along with the GIS department. So any type of splits, combinations, new subdivisions, we do that and place the new parcel numbers on those properties so that the information can go to the correct spot. When we talk about listing property, which is next, The listing is involved basically as we're describing all the characteristics of the property. If you have ever been to our website, you will notice that all residential property, everything is already out there. So you'll have information on the age of your home, the size of your home, the number of bedrooms of your home. All that information is out there. You can even pull sales in your neighborhood just to see what things are selling for. So several years ago, we put that on there, and we worked with the GIS department and IT department to get all that information out there. But we do that, and we work real closely with the places, Peoria County and other municipalities that do building permits, because that's how we identify when something has been updated and we need to go list that, whether it be a deck, an addition, a new garage, new house. So us, along with the township assessors, we work in conjunction with them on getting all of that information listed and put on there. Some township assessors like us to go out there with them, and there's a few that just do that on their own. Two townships we have an intergovernmental agreement to do, and that's West Peoria and Radnor Township. So they pay the Peoria County to do all their assessments for them, as they were unable to find a township assessor, so they contract with us to do that. The next part of it is the valuation part. This is the biggest part. This is a somewhat subjective part, as we are looking to put values on all the properties. So as I've mentioned in a lot of the meetings before, 2023 is our year to revalue. Every 4 years, we've got to revalue every single property in Peoria County. So that is a big job, and that is what we're doing now. All property is valued as of January 1st of a given year. So the tax bills that were just received were values as of January 1st of 2022. That does cause some problems, because people get their tax bill and they'll want to say, hey, how can I file a complaint based off this tax bill? In theory, they needed to file that complaint last year if they were going to file on the assessment. So what we're doing now is we're valuing all property as of January 1st of 2023, and that will be for next year's tax bill. So we will be using sales from 2022, 2021, and 2020. And as I've mentioned several times, if you follow the housing market has increased rapidly during those 3 years. So we could see some big changes in assessed values for 2023, and probably, be honest, in 2024. We haven't seen a slowdown here. Maybe nationally they've seen a little bit of a slowdown, but the inventory is so low here that the housing prices are still increasing quite a bit.
Yes.
When we talk about assessments, in Illinois, everything is valued as far as residential and commercial properties. Every county values at 1/3 of market value, or 33.33%. The only county that doesn't is Cook County. They have a different classification system up there. But otherwise, everything is valued at 1/3 of market value. So one of the things I do is review all of the values that are turned in by the townships to make sure every township is within that 1/3 of market value. If the township is too low, we'll have to put an equalization factor to increase the value. If it's too high, we put an equalization factor to decrease the value. So we do that every year to review, and basically what we're doing is just reviewing sale prices compared to our assessments and where we're at by township. Are we too high? Are we too low? And we do that each year.
Yeah.
If we do not do that, the state will come in and put a county factor on every property within the county. So there's no way somebody can say, oh, I'll just keep the assessments low, because there is a check and balance system that's in there, and that is not allowed. So
That's good.
the second step is we do have 3 members of a local board of review. If you don't like your assessment, a lot of times people want to file a complaint. When they're talking about filing a complaint, typically they go to the board of review. We have 3 individuals in our office that hear complaints. Typically they're doing that between October and January is typically when they hear those complaints as far as at the local level. So they'll look at your individual property and then they'll make a decision. They also hear stuff on non-homestead exemptions. If you're considered property tax exempt or think you should be property tax exempt, you file within our office first, and then we send that information to the State Department of Revenue, and they actually make the final decision on that. We're more of a receive and file for that because we can make a recommendation at the local level, but typically the Department of Revenue makes that decision on whether you're considered property tax exempt or not. The other thing our Board of Review does is they help prepare. If you don't like the decision at the local level, you can go to the state level. It's called the State Property Tax Appeal Board, and they will help prepare cases at that level to help defend the values that they've put on. So that gets pretty laborious. The state has tons of cases down there to hear. So typically, you may be about 2 years behind if you file a state case. It may take a while before you're actually heard on that case and before a decision is made. So that does take a while on that. So after all those assessments are completed and I put that equalization factor on, I have to send information down to the state. Again, that's just a check and balance system. They check all our numbers to make sure everything looks okay, to make sure we're within that 33 and a third mandate. So we prepare one at the tentative at the supervisor of assessments level, and we'll do one after we're done at the board of review. So all that information is sent down in the state. It's just called an abstract, and it's sent down there, and we do that every year too, so they can check our numbers.
Yes, good. Yes.
Some other functions of the Supervisor of Assessments Office, one of the biggest time-consuming thing is all of the homestead exemptions, whether it be senior exemptions, disabled persons exemption, disabled veterans exemptions. Typically, when you hear that we're dealing with the VA, it is typically regarding the disabled veterans exemption. I think we have over 1,000 people now that have qualified for disabled veterans exemption in Peoria County, and that number keeps going up. So we deal with that quite a bit. The senior exemptions, we typically send out about 13,000 notices each year. That is the biggest time consumer in our office. We're trying to look at ways to speed that process up, but it is very difficult. A lot of the calls are individuals forgetting to file, and a lot of these individuals do not have a computer, so it has us mailing that back to them. So there's quite a bit of work in that, and we got quite a few calls this year. So we're seeing if we can do anything to those forms to make it a little bit easier, but those are state forms, so we're limited on what we can do on that. But those are, in a nutshell, what we do, and we deal with quite a few different offices other than just the people that are sitting here today, the county clerk and the treasurer. As I said, we deal with the building permits department. We deal with the city of Peoria quite a bit on a lot of different issues. We deal with the VA, quite a bit of different issues. So we deal with a lot of other offices also. But that's, in a nutshell, what our office does. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I do have a question. What is the size of your staff? Boy, you have a lot of responsibility here.
Right. Our staff now, we have 6 people that work under me, and then we have 3 board of review members. The board of review members are considered really considered part-time, and then the 6 staff members. The biggest issue we're having right now, which we haven't had for years, is 7 of those 9 positions now are going to be somebody that is new to that position within the last 6 months. So we've had some retirements. Another individual is leaving at the end of this week, and we've moved some people around within the office, but they're also in new positions. So that is causing some consternation, but we're working through that to see if we can do things a little quicker.
Yeah.
But we've got 7 out of our 9 people, I think, are going to be new within the last 6 months. And we're doing the revaluation as we speak. So it'll be a very busy year coming up.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Any other comments, questions for Dave? Thank you.
All right, thank
Very
you.
good. Appreciate this.
No problem. Thank you.
Visuals are always great. Okay. I'd like to move on to our treasurer, Nicole Birkey. I always like to pronounce her last name, you all.
You're a pro now.
I work.
I'll just keep this short and sweet. We did send out tax bills. The due dates are June 6th and September 6th. They've been coming in fast and furious. As a reminder, we have taken over collections from the city of Peoria Township, so that has brought more business to our office and more foot traffic. We have 8 township collectors out of 18 townships now since we took over the city of Peoria. So that's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions?
Questions, comments? We'll hear more detail from you, I think, next month.
Next month.
Thank you. Thank you. And I know Mike Brooks will not be here today. Is there a representative from the Veterans Assistance Commission here? Okay. We will move on to our resolutions, and we do have our monthly delinquent tax resolution, and I need a motion to bring that on. And Sharon Williams, and I need a second from Matt Windish. Okay, and of course we know that this is our delinquent taxes, the Peoria County monthly resolution list for April 2023. Are there any changes, corrections, questions? Okay, we need a vote. All those in favor, say aye. Those opposed? Sounds like the ayes have it. I didn't hear anybody else but Sharon. Thank you. Got my little backup here. And Matt, yeah. Thank you. The ayes have it. And we'll move on to public comments. Any public comment? Okay. And what about miscellaneous? Oh. Okay. We had a very good, productive meeting today, didn't we? We rocked this committee, as Jimmy Dillon always tells me. Okay. If nothing else, this committee meeting has been adjourned.